You guys have to step up, especially you as a leader. How do you think that role will evolve for you?
It evolves tremendously because I think at the same time, people forget they be wanting young guys to be leaders, but you got to put time served in. You got to earn your stripe, earn your right to speak, and follow. Lead by your actions. And I think oftentimes, at least from my perspective, guys like me, when you look up to guys like D-Law, who's been around so long, and Word and influence means so much, and Tyron's still there, and all these other older veteran guys are still there. It's hard to lead because you look up to those guys. Your mindset is like, man, they know more. They're not more knowledgeable, but as as they keep going on and you keep rising, it's like, it's your turn now. So I think we all at that time. I think CD had Coop, and then he was learning a year to how to be a true leader. And, he had MG there, and, you had all these big time names that you're like, man, like, where do I fit in? How do I kind of pivot? But I think more and more it's showing that, it's our time now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've officially heard enough. I was trying my hardest not to go here, but we gonna have to go there. Micah Parsons has brought up the fact that he doesn't feel like he ever had the opportunity or he felt comfortable being a leader for the Dallas Cowboys because there were already incumbent leaders in place in Demarcus Lawrence and Tyron Smith. Now, I think it's safe to say on the offensive side of the ball, Dak Prescott has pretty much taken up the mantle as leader of the team, right? Here's the thing. Usually, quarterbacks aren't necessarily leading the defensive room as well. Yes, your defensive guys will buy into your quarterback, but as far as who's leading that room, it's not the quarterback, y'all. It's someone that's actually on the defense. Anybody that's ever played organized sports, organized football specifically, understand that position groups kind of have their own leadership structure within the grand structure of the entire team's leadership structure, right? So, yes, Dak Prescott is the leader of the team, but he's more so leading that offensive side of the ball. We seem to have an issue with the defensive side of the ball, and this makes multiple times now this offseason where Micah Parsons has brought up Demarcus Lawrence. Now, do I think that Micah Parsons is trying to do this, is trying to single out Tank, is trying to put this spotlight on Tank? No, I think that just his subconscious is coming through whenever he's speaking out his answers. I think that Micah Parsons is a very naturally honest person. I think he's a very blunt person, and I think at times he has issues trying to, I guess, make his answers PC enough to where people don't have anything really to go off of, or his true feelings may not peek through. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because we literally just saw a very, very similar situation happen with this, and Micah kind of brought that situation up as well, which kind of gives even more credence to the theory I'm about to lay out on the table for y'all. Didn't we just see a similar thing happen with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper was the alpha dog in our wide receiver room, and CeeDee Lamb was an up-and-coming young stud, and obviously he had wide receiver one trajectory. We knew he was eventually going to be capable of being a wide receiver one. Now, while CeeDee Lamb was nothing but complimentary of Amari Cooper, which for the most part, Micah Parsons has been nothing but complimentary of Demarcus Lawrence, outside of him disagreeing with the fact that Demarcus Lawrence said they got tired. But for the most part, Micah has been nothing but complimentary about D-Law and his impact on that defensive side of the ball. But the same thing played out with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. And we just heard the truth now. The truth, after a couple of years of Amari Cooper being removed off of this team, we finally just heard the actual truth. CeeDee Lamb couldn't come into his own as a wide receiver one. He didn't feel comfortable trying to take on the mantle as top dog in the room while Amari Cooper was here. Whether it was a respect factor or whether it was just a pecking order thing, that was just the facts of the matter. Micah Parsons is in a very same situation with Demarcus Lawrence. And everybody was extremely surprised about the Marshawn Kneeland pick, but I'm gonna tell you right now, that pick pretty much all but sealed the end of Demarcus Lawrence in Dallas. I'm not a betting man, but I would be tempted to bet that Demarcus Lawrence doesn't come back to the Dallas Cowboys after next season, and he finds himself finishing out the last year or two of his career on another team, because Marshawn Kneeland is going to slide into that role that he's on. giving Micah Parsons the actual opportunity to slide into that leadership role that we all want to see him star in. Now, I get it. A lot of you, my guys, may be like, well, Dak came in and he immediately took on that leadership mantle, and that was one of the reasons the team really bought into him and the team rallied around him. Yes, but you got to understand, not everybody leads the same way, and not everybody's the same level of leader. Dak Prescott may just be more of a natural-born leader than a Micah Parsons, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's not me saying that Micah Parsons can't be just as effective of a leader, but Dak may have been a more natural-born leader, so he may have felt more comfortable putting himself out there and not caring about how other people in the room took it, right? Micah has a lot of respect for Demarcus Lawrence. Micah has a lot of respect for the guys that came before him, right? So I could very well see, especially with a strong personality like a D-Law, I could very well see Micah not feeling comfortable trying to impose his identity on the entire team when you already feel like there's a top dog in place. You see what I'm saying? Y'all tracking with me? I don't think that's too far off base to say at all. And I think that this team is clearly going through an identity crisis, just with the fact that they haven't been on the same page with how they want to go about their business. Dak Prescott didn't want to wear the divisional championship hats because he said there was more work to be done. Where juxtaposed that, the whole defense is celebrating and taking pictures in the locker room with hats on like they just won the damn Super Bowl, right? So there's clearly a disconnect there as far as the leadership coursing through the entire structure of the team. And I think that Micah Parsons is putting a bigger spotlight on, yes, he's saying he's not necessarily a leader. He hasn't had the chance to really be a leader because D-Law is here. And this may very well be a case where he can't truly be the leader of this defense until D-Law's not in place, unless D-Law is just willing to take a complete step back and allow Micah to have full reign over the locker room, which he's been here for 10 years, y'all. D-Law's been here for 10 years. He's been here since before Dak Prescott even got here. So I would think it's just difficult to, as a newer player, come in and completely change the tone of a locker room in which the leadership structure has been in place for almost a decade, right? So very, very interesting dynamic revealed here. I'm going to keep an eye on this, see if we see anything else or hear anything else come out about this. But I thought this was a very interesting insight. And if you take your emotions out of it, if you take wanting to hate somebody for what they're saying out of it, and you just kind of really think about it from a logical standpoint. This is like any other job. You go there and there's a tenured employee in place, but you may understand better how to run the operation. I know a lot of you guys can relate to this. A lot of y'all probably feel like this on your everyday jobs, right? Where there's a boss there or there's someone in a leadership position that you know more than, and you can do a better job than what they're doing, but because they have tenure, because they've been there longer, because they have more pull, they have more connections there, you wouldn't dare try to overstep that line because you know that they have more people in their corner than you have in your corner, right? So I'm just saying this makes sense. Yes, it kind of sounds like an excuse if you're trying to be a skeptic, but from a logical standpoint, I could absolutely understand what Micah Parsons is saying. And I'm just hoping that Mike Zimmer and his actual leadership, I don't think Dan Quinn's a good leader. I don't. I hope that Mike Zimmer and his actual leadership and structure and discipline will come in and instill an actual pecking order in place. And it'll be very, very clear whose identity this defense is taking. And at the end of the day, maybe it just needs to be the defensive coordinator's identity, because the players clearly are trying not to step on each other's toes. So Mike Zimmer coming may very well be the missing link this defense needed, because the defense needed an identity and an attitude. They had the identity of essentially starting out hot and then sputtering towards the end of the year. We need a hard-nosed, strong, mentally tough identity. Mike Zimmer brings that, and maybe Micah Parsons could bring that if, someone else's identity wasn't already imprinted on the team. But let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. I just thought this was a very, very interesting discussion, and I'm sure I'm going to get some very insightful feedback from you guys on this. All right, either way, we stay them same old Cowboys. I see you guys. Take it away, Pat.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still the ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.